Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick here, dropping in on you. Hope everybody is off to a great start this week. Look, I'm excited about so many different things that are going on at Rick Wallace Enterprises and its subsidiaries, the things we're doing as a business through our multiple subsidiaries, but also the work we're doing in the inner city communities, the Black communities specifically. Um, Through the Odyssey Project and the Black Voice. I'm excited. It's a challenge. It's always a challenge. There are a number of different things we face consistently, and that's life, right? Life is about how well you handle and meet adversity, how you meet the challenges, how you face them, what you do. It's not about circumventing the vicissitudes of life. It's impossible. They're coming. It's about saying, you know what, I'm built for this. I'm going to step out there. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to make it happen. Let me tell you, I tell people all the time, when I'm lecturing, when I'm speaking, when I'm book signing, whatever it is, I always make sure they understand that behind every success, the 28 books, every book that was written came behind a failure. Every business that I've started came behind a failure. Every academic accomplishment I've achieved came behind a failure in some way. I have not achieved anything of significance without having experienced failure in that area. So then it's how well do you deal with failure? How committed are you to going the distance? So my challenge to you is to consistently move forward, being committed to finish what you start. It's about the distance you're willing to go and nothing else, because you're going to experience setbacks, difficulties, frustrations. You're going to be unsettled. You're going to experience delay. Man, one of my most favorite mantras is delay is not denial, because you'll start to look at it and go, man, how long? Because in your mind, you think it should take a certain amount of time. But what you don't understand is everything that you put out in the way of a thought, which produces itself in your life as a reality, is a seed. Your thoughts are the seeds of your destiny. Well, the thing is, depending on how big the image is, how big the vision is, the germination and the germination period and the gestation period of that seed is going to be different. See, it takes a lot less to get a rose bush than it does to get an oak tree. They both have purposes, but it depends on what you're looking for, what you need, and what you want. And so you got to understand some of the things that you planted take time to manifest and germinate and develop. And you also need the time to develop to be able to manage what you are seeking. The one thing you don't want to have is something to fall into your lap that you're not ready to manage. So that's what I wanted to drop on you in the beginning of this. Look, I'm excited. Today is Money Monday. It's going to be real brief. It's one of my things that I love to talk about. It's about hedging your income. We're going to talk more about hedging your investments on Wednesday, which is Wealth Building Wednesday. But I want to talk about hedging your income. One of the things in my life that I've seen upfront and personal is people who have great um, uh, sources of income. They make a good living and they are hung on it. You know, they're making good money in comparison to whatever they're comparing themselves to. And everybody's idea of what is a good income or a good salary is different. But what I can tell you is one of the things that I've seen up close and personal, as a relocation, international relocation specialist, what I used to do was expatriate and repatriate high level executives. Matter of fact, I am the person who repatriated the executives from Enron when the company collapsed. And I got to see firsthand what not leveraging your primary source of income looks like, or misleveraging your primary source of income. And so it really taught me a whole lot um, about the importance of, no matter what you think you have coming in, it should not be your only source. That whole old fashioned saying, all your eggs in one basket type thing. But what I did learn is it's important, especially in the second go around for me after hitting having a major setback and collapse, 2007, 2008, when everybody else was going through it. That was a major hit to me. I mean, everything I had built, and I mean, I was doing well, came tumbling down because number one, I wasn't prepared. Number two, I was a bit arrogant, um, and I thought that nothing could stop me. And nothing can stop you ultimately, but you can definitely stop yourself. You can put yourself in a situation, and then things are going to happen that are completely out of your control. And you're just going to have to find a way to manage it. There's a old saying in money that people say it and don't even really think about what it means. But when you're trying to move in the money field, you understand it. It says that the average millionaire will go broke at least three times over the course of their lives. And the thing is, first of all, what most people's idea of a millionaire isn't the true definition of millionaire. Millionaire is having a net worth of $1 million. What that means is when you take all of your total assets, everything you own of value, and you subtract everything that you owe in debt, you have a net worth. That's your net worth. The average millionaire in America drives a Toyota Camry. Matter of fact, the top 10 cars driven by millionaires, there's only one luxury line, and it's Lexus. And I think it's a Lexus ES, and it's like number 8 or something like that. The more high-end luxury cars are in the teens and beyond. But and it's a reason for that. But that's not why I'm here. But I just want to drop that nugget of knowledge that what you think the average millionaire looks like isn't necessarily the truth. Now you're talking about extravagant ultimate multimillionaires. Now you're talking about an entirely different um, tax bracket and a whole bunch of other things. But the idea is to manage yourself and put yourself in a situation and what you need, and you need to know what you need. And I'm going to talk about that in the coming weeks, the importance of knowing your number. But right now we're talking about hedging. And before I move on, real briefly, there are two things in there that will help you with this in the description box. If you look in the description box, there's a chance to get my course 7-day online business launch course. That's literally the blueprint I use to rebuild myself after the collapse, literally online. I moved from moving around mostly in brick and mortar and other types of business where it was face-to-face encounters to being online, doing virtuals, doing consulting, and a bunch of other things. And I rebuilt what I had. I still got a ways to go to get back to where I was and beyond, but I'm definitely moving. And one of the things that has kept me in the rough times, because there have been some rough times in this process, is hedging, meaning I don't depend on one particular source of income. Now I will have a primary and a major, and sometimes it's just not clicking. Sometimes it's not working. And the things that keep you floating are how you hedge. What is a hedge? A hedge is this thing that offsets the risk of losing in your primary focus. If it's an investment, there are other investments that hedge against that loss. So if one goes one way, there are some other things in place to hold off or to at least offset the loss. In income, it's simply having more sources of income that will hold you in the case your primary source of income shifts. And like with Enron and a lot of other things that happened after that, because of that economic collapse, the same one that hit me, a lot of people were pushed out of their jobs because something different happened in that collapse that had not happened in decades. And it was, instead of laying off from the bottom where you get so and so company laid off 30,000 employees, blah blah blah, you got so and so company laid off 300 employees, and those 300 employees were high level, upper level management, VPs, things of that nature. So in other words, I can get rid of 300 employees and get rid of the same amount of financial liability versus salary and compensation packages as I would dropping 30,000 employees. And we simply restructure the top model for management, and we keep moving until we recover from this thing. What that did is that pushed a lot of very business savvy people out into the marketplace with no jobs to offer. They reinvented themselves. They started small businesses. They became consultants. They became project managers, and you could see it happening. And it restructured and aligned the business and job market globally. And that's where we're at now. We're no longer in a highly centralized or regionalized marketplace. We're in a global marketplace, and you have to focus and think about things from that perspective. But anyway, here's what happens when you have a primary source of income. You should have other incomes, and never has there been an easier time to do that. When I say easy, I need to be very careful of what I mean. I don't mean it doesn't require work. I don't mean that it doesn't require energy, effort, time, and consistency. I mean that there is a blueprint to do it. Technology is currently investing. When I started building my online enterprise, it was very, very different than it is now. You had to understand HTML. Trying to put your own website up was a nightmare. Trying to sit up and understand what was going on with these search engines and all of that stuff with SEO, and how to work with Google as far as building your organic traffic through SEO, but also working with them through their different ad programs so that you could direct traffic to your location. All of this stuff was new, and everybody was saying they knew how to do it, and you go out and you spend money and find out they didn't know what they were doing, or you would sit up and try to figure it out and you would have to bump your head. I went through that entire process of learning. I'm the type of person that is, even if I have to pay somebody to do it, I want to learn what they're doing so that I can get an idea and over time master it, and then integrate it into what I offer through the different businesses and programs. That's how Myriad Business Solutions got started. The Odyssey Media Group and publishing got started. I just sit up and would not be denied. And I went out there and I got it. And what I've done is I put it in a package, which is the blueprint that I use. And what I can do at this particular point is I can see something that I'm going like, that's a good money-making opportunity. Now, this doesn't have to be your dream business. This is about seeing money-making opportunities online, seeing opportunities to generate revenue, whether it's $15, $100, $1,000, $10,000 or more. There are opportunities out there. And if you know how to set yourself up online, build a website, build a landing page, drive traffic, create funnels, all of these different things, and believe it or not, list building is still important. It's not like having people that you can send a direct message or email to tell them something you have going up, especially like when I'm promoting a book. I'm about to drop book number 28, Healed and Whole. And it is going to be pushed to the people who are on my list first. They're going to get special offers, going to get a whole bunch of things, but it gives you drive, it gives you access, and you can have multiple lists. All this stuff is put in this thing, but here's what it gives you. It gives you an opportunity to create multiple sources of income. Multiple streams of income is what you have to have. And the beautiful thing about technology and being online is it's not something that's time intensive when you do it right. It's time intensive up front. You got to learn how to do it. You got to take time to master the process. I can literally go from an idea to launching and accepting my first payment within an hour to 2 hours, depending on what I'm doing. Now, if it's something really extravagant, a new business idea, obviously it takes long to develop, because now we're talking business plan, marketing analysis, marketing research, customer intel or intelligence, data gathering to evaluate my target audience, and a whole bunch of other stuff that you have to do for that. But on the short side of things, something's going and you look at it and say, okay, man, I'm going to support that. I'm going to promote that. I'm going to sell that. I'm going to move this. I got an idea, man. I need to raise this. I need to, whatever the situation, there's a way to do it, and you can learn how to do it. And like I said, I can take a basic idea of something I want to promote or sell, and within 2 hours get it up. Now, that didn't start that way. It didn't start that way at all. But basically, I was able to do a number of different things. I started out, and what I started out doing is making money in things I knew I had a level of expertise in, and move from there. So I knew that I had a background in psychology, so I could help people. So I launched that. But getting people to pay high ticket prices is not something that every day you're going to jump up and people are in line to pay what you're asking. So on the side, I wrote. I am a writer. I've been a writer all of my life. And so I wrote for platforms. I wrote product descriptions for First Choice Lighting. I wrote product descriptions for a furniture company in Perth, Australia. I wrote articles for other websites. And I did that, and I built, and I became, sought after to do it. And it actually became another phase of a business I set up and put to the side. And it becomes this ongoing stream. Plus, you can set up and build what I call deployable assets. A deployable asset is something you create one time, you put it out there, and it keeps making money. A good deployable asset that doesn't take a whole lot of effort. Obviously, probably the thing that comes to mind for me the most are my books. Deployable assets. You write them, you publish them, and they're out there. People will stumble across them, people will share it, and other people will buy it every now and then. And what I have found is every time that I release a new book, the sales on the other books go up because people will search for your name or Google your name looking for one book and realize that there are other books out there, and those sales go up. So I have found that always to be interesting as well. But the goal is to create these multiple streams of income that once you set them up, they're pretty much automated. The SEO is right, the content is right. Now, depending on what you're driving and how you're doing it, are you doing it through a content-driven mechanism, meaning that you're going to have to consistently put up content in order to draw the traffic to wherever you're at in order for them to buy whatever you want them to buy, then yes, it's going to be time intensive. But normally when it's time intensive based on content, if you get the right type of content and you understand the target audience that you're reaching out to, you'll be able to generate uh, significant revenue in that area. Again, none of this stuff is going to be like, if you do this and do this, you're going to get this amount of money. What it is if you put in the work, you put in the timing, it does come. You're going to have, depending on what you do, like what I do is in the minds of the average person, what's the word I want to use? A luxury. It's not a necessity. Whereas in the people that I typically work with, and the people who understand things, it's an absolute necessity. But most people don't see performance psychology or life strategy or even trauma healing as a necessity. It's like, if I can do it, I'll do it. One day that'll be cool. If I ever get this, I'm gonna go do it. And there are people who have literally taken loans to work with me. And they haven't regretted it. But the average person doesn't know that. So then you have to understand, if you're working in that industry, there are going to be times of the year that business is really going to suck. The first of the year normally sucks. The holidays normally sucks because people divert their discretionary income towards whatever the holiday and the commercial demands. And you have to sort of understand that. But there are other things that flow, and you have to understand the difference between something that is needed and something that is desired. I tend to try to stay out of it, except for this thing, because I'm passionate about it. It's what I do. Working with people to help them improve is what I do. It's my number one business. The Visionetics Institute and the Visionetics concept is what I do. All the other things are a part of who I am, and I'm able to share it because I've put enough time into it to master it. But if I had one thing I can do the rest of my life, and this is what I am going to do the rest of my life, no matter how financially set I become, I'm going to help people change their lives. It's what I love doing. It's the most fulfilling thing I do. But I have to understand, I'm not cheap, and people will really balk on paying if they don't see the value. And sometimes that it's my failure that they don't see the value because of maybe I'm not presenting it well. Maybe I'm assuming you should just automatically know that the help is necessary, and a bunch of different things. So all these things are things you consider. But what I do want you to get and take away from this is very simple. You have to have more than one source of income. What I normally say when I'm talking to people is, at the bare minimum, you need two independent streams of income that are independent from your primary source of income and independent from anyone being able to take them from you. What I mean is, you can't be fired from it. You can't be laid off from it. If you wake up every morning and do it, it will ultimately produce results. Again, this isn't about a get rich quick scheme. This is about consistently investing in something and riding it out until you get what you want. The problem is, I see with so many things in my observation and working with people and helping people do what they need to do to overcome, is one of the things I see consistently are people who walk away from the vision prematurely. it doesn't happen at the time frame they want. People, the money doesn't come in, the accolades don't come in, you don't reach the goal. And let me tell you something. When I first started working with my first real true business mentor, a guy named David, um, and the thing is, we were as opposite in personality and appearance as you can be. I was a young cat trying to find myself. Um, he was probably 8 years my senior, Jewish guy, very conservative and reserved in his appearance. Um, but he saw something in me sitting at a bar one day, and he struck up a conversation, and we became friends, and he mentored me. And one of the things he would always say to me, he told me, he said, I've had a lot of success. He told me, he said, but I think that you will eventually surpass me. He said, because you have no problem failing forward. And I'm like, I had came from that mindset as an athlete that failure is unacceptable, that failure is not an option. You're told that over and over again. Failure is not an option. And so the term failure is almost like kryptonite. And so you're going like, what do you mean failure? He says, first of all, understand that failure is inevitable. You fail. He says that one of the most beautiful things you can do is fail forward. And what he meant by that was, I set my goals so aggressively, and I'm still that way now, and it gets me into trouble in times because I see something and I'm not going to play safe. I'm not going to sit up and go, well, it'll probably do. I'm aiming for the fence every time. So I set these goals that are astronomically crazy that people will look at and go, you're out of your freaking mind. And what normally happens is, say I set a goal of whatever for 90 days, and I get to 90 days, I haven't hit the goal. But you know what I've done? Because I've set that goal at such a high level, and it means something to me, and it's a level of urgency, because I know I have no time to waste. I don't have no casual time. I literally, I got to wake up in the morning and go get it. If I'm going to hit that goal, I got to go get it. But what happens when you have a goal like that and you wake up every day and your mind is set on reaching that goal, you don't leave anything on the field during the day. You don't play soft. You go hard. And what that means is, even though in 90 days I didn't hit the goal, I got as far as I possibly could. I got a lot farther than most people would get, because they set those safe goals. They probably hit their goals, but how much did you leave on the field in potential and development and growth, because you didn't go hard, because you set a goal you could get to that made sense to you. I don't set goals I set goals that stretch me. I set goals that make me have to figure out new ways to think. I set goals that make you go, look, you tell somebody this, they're going to think you're crazy. I don't care who thinks I'm crazy. What I know is, nobody looked at me as a little boy from the inner city who was born to a 15-year-old mother and an absent father, and thought that he would reach what he has reached in the things that I've been able to do in business, in as a public speaker, as a global life strategist and performance psychologist, as a teacher, as a speaker, and even as an athlete. Nobody thought that would be me. So if I would have stood up and I would have succumbed to what other people's expectations of me were, I would probably not even be sitting here talking to you. I would probably be helping somebody else build their vision, build their dream, and not even be thinking the way but I didn't succumb to that. I stood up and decided that this is one life that I've been given to live, and how I live it is going to be the legacy I leave, and the legacy I leave is going to be what's going to speak of me after I'm gone. And what will my legacy say about me when I'm no longer able to speak on my own behalf? What will my legacy say? How many lives will I have touched? How many people can sit up and say, I'm glad I met him. I'm glad I took that course. I'm glad I signed up to work with him. I'm glad I read that book. How many people will be blessed because I lived on this planet? That's the legacy. That's all I care about. I'm going to stumble. I'm going to fall. I'm going to scrape myself up, but I'm going to pick myself up and I'm going to keep going. And what he meant by that is, you fail forward. You failed to reach that goal, but you moved yourself as forward as you possibly could. Now you set a new goal and you fail on that. But guess what you do in the process of failing on the second goal? You achieve the first one. That's how you fail forward. You set it and you go. And the thing is, again, I'm going to say this as I close out, there's absolutely nothing in this world that I have achieved that wasn't preceded by failure. Stop being afraid to fail. Stop fearing failure. Failure becomes the catalyst that drives you. Failure becomes the teacher that teaches you. Failure becomes the assurance that there's a way to get it done. You start to learn yourself when you fail. You start to learn the process when you fail. You start to do it, but you've got to get up. You've got to get out there. And I'm challenging you, no matter who you are, no matter where you're at, no matter what you're going through, there's something better for you. And it's not out there. It's inside of you. There's something inside of you that's yearning to express itself, but you've kept it quiet because it didn't make sense. You kept it quiet because people would laugh. You kept it quiet because you couldn't understand how to do it. Like Les Brown often says that when you're trying to make up in your mind that you're going to do something that you've never done before, how you're going to do it is none of your business. And people don't understand what he's saying. What he's saying is, I can't consult my past, my current self, and everything that preceded this current self. I can't consult that for permission and instruction on how to do something that's never been done or that I've never done before, because it's not back there. So if the first thing I do in order to determine if I'm going to do something and ask myself how I'm going to do it, I'll never do it. Why? Because I don't know how. Everything that I've done once at one point in time, I didn't know how. And when I decided to do it, I had to develop a mindset that I'm going to learn, that I'm going to be willing to be uncomfortable, being ignorant, being unaware, not having the knowledge. And see, the thing is, and I thank my grandfather for this. I really, truly thank him. He said, son, don't be the smartest person in the room. And he told me, he said, it's going to be hard for you, but don't be the smartest person in the room, because the moment you become the smartest person in the room, you stop learning. And so here I am sharing with you. It's time to step up, get out, connect with people, build circles, learn, take courses, find you a mentor, find you a life coach, find you somebody qualified that can get you to the next level. It's called an investment. It's time to expedite the process of your growth. But whatever you do, understand you need to hedge what? Your income. Multiple streams of income. If you don't have at least 2 streams of income, you are setting yourself up for a potential collapse that you will take time to recover from. On that note, look, I'm going to get ready to get out here. As I always say, I live my life on full so that when I leave this place, I don't eat. Look in the description box. And right now, the course is only $397. It's normally $607, but for the remainder of the day, it's $397. This course is dynamite. It comes with A through Z on how to start a business online. And you can do this over and over and over again. It's a wash and repeat system that will allow you to build those multiple streams of income. Look in there. That's also a way you can sign up to the Path of Generational Wealth course. Now, that's an 18-month online course, but you can sign up for that as well. That's in there. On that note, look, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. Thank you guys for stopping in, and I will talk to you later.